Hello and welcome all. This is inaugural session of the series Admission Insights. In this series, we will interact with distinguished alumni, associates of the world's top ranking universities, providing valuable insights to students aspiring to join the globally ranked, top ranked universities. The purpose is to equip and empower students with direct information and insight, make them realize their full potential, and help them with admission to the best universities they deserve. So they should not be limited by lack of information. So we will provide all the information in this series.
Today we have a distinguished Stanford University alumnus with us, Mr. Ravi Pamnani. Ravi is the founder and CEO of Intact Therapeutics, a biopharmaceutical company focused on developing novel therapies for digestive diseases. I've worked with him on this one of his project that was recently recognized by NSF with $1 million US funding. Ravi received his bachelor's in mechanical engineering from Stanford University and also master's in management sciences and engineering from Stanford University. He also completed a fellowship, Stanford Biodesign Innovation. So yeah, basically once he was finding different ways to stay close to Stanford University. He founded his company. Earlier, it was like a little bit further away from Stanford, but then he found a way to make it about 10 minutes closer. So he brought it back to close to Stanford University. He began his work from R&D, a research and development engineer at Guidant Corporation, developing best-in-class technologies for cardiac and vascular surgeries. So very, very warm welcome, Ravi.
Sure. Thanks, Irfan. Thank you for the opportunity to chat with you and to share the story. I'm happy to be here. I was actually born at Stanford, so this is not on my CV, but I was born in Stanford Hospital, and my joke is that I never left after that. So you definitely captured that correctly. So yes, a little bit about Intact Therapeutics. Intact is a biopharmaceutical technology company that we actually developed at Stanford during my research innovation fellowship. And we are focusing on GI disorders. The platform technology that we had developed at Stanford uses a smart phase-changing hydrogel. And this hydrogel we are using to deliver drugs to different parts of the GI tract, the gastrointestinal tract. So initially we were looking at delivery to the colon for a condition called inflammatory bowel disease. The project that you and I had worked on, though, was an evolution of this technology where we wanted to use the same gel, but with a different drug in the upper GI tract, in the stomach and the esophagus, for the treatment of gastrointestinal bleeding. Gastrointestinal bleeding is a very difficult condition. It's the #1 cause of death for patients who are having a GI problem in the emergency room, and causes a lot of difficulty, requires blood transfusions, requires invasive surgery to treat. And using the gel technology, we were trying to develop a non-invasive solution that can be applied even by a nurse very immediately during the course of the acute episode. So that is a very early stage project that we have the funding thanks in part to your help. But it's part of a broader portfolio of products and technologies that we're developing at Intact for different types of GI disease.
All the best to Intact and your team.
Thank you.
This funding round and then next challenges so that it can come to market as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Society.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Okay. So now I want to place you in a time machine and take you back to your application time. Could you remember what was going on? How intense was during your preparation?
Sure. Yeah. So this was the focus. The recommendations were, get good grades, obviously, score well on tests, and have something that you focus on in an extracurricular passion that can really demonstrate your kind of commitment and your driving towards some excellence or some high performance levels. And then obviously the personal statement. So showing some maturity and showing some self-insight into that was really important. I went to a preparatory high school, a private high school here in the United States. And so I was fortunate to have a lot of support from the school, and they provided kind of counseling, kind of guidance and things like that, feedback on my personal essay, things that really helped me along the way to make the strongest possible application. Fortunately, I was a pretty good, like I was a fairly strong test taker. I did pretty well, like on the SAT. My grades were good, but it's interesting, they had not been good initially. As I advanced in my high school time, I my grades got better and better. And actually, that was told to me at the time that was better than it going the other way, where it starts good and then it goes down. Or, obviously it'd be better if it was all good all the time, but showing that it was kind of getting improving and I was focusing
Improving.
more.
Let's say if somebody is applying to very top school, really top of the plate, then everything has to be good. The SAT has to be good. GPA has to be improving and very high. Extracurricular has to be very good, and statement of purpose has to be very well refined. All things has to check very well. In your case, is there one or two particular thing that you think helped a lot more? That there was slack, let's say, in one area, but there were two strong areas that helped you a lot more.
Yeah, I would say my grades were probably the least strong, but again, I was getting all A's. My SAT scores were very strong. I was just kind of good I viewed SATs as kind of like a game.
Game, yes.
And it's fun to it's like a puzzle. I liked puzzles and I liked games.
Yes.
So sometimes I don't know the answer, but I'm really good at elimination, of the
Yes.
multiple choice. I would say the one difference is that I didn't have anything that was really exceptional. Sometimes I hear advice to students now where they say, okay, there should be one thing where you're like national ranked, Olympic level
That's
height,
it.
and I didn't have that. I was just very well rounded. I had good scores. I had, strong in a lot of different things, and I was showing that I had a lot of interests. I'd like to think I wrote a very good statement of purpose. It was about my time playing piano. I had played piano as a young child, but then I quit. And then when I was in my middle school years, kind of rediscovered music and I wanted to come back to playing the piano. But it was sort of this discovery that, okay, I'm now at the level of someone much younger than me. So if I'm performing, I'm playing with like younger kids. So is this like a hit to my ego or not? Like, why
Yes.
am I playing the piano? And it's more about kind of finding the reasons about not doing it just for the competitive nature of it, but doing it because of something bigger than that, and for myself and for my own my own satisfaction and development, and kind of talking about that whole process of why I went back to piano and why I'm excited about the future of playing, and even though I wasn't, again, nationally level playing, I was very happy and very motivated to keep playing music. Here's how we still find value and purpose in the things we do. So yeah, I think those are probably my strongest points, is just being very well rounded and having kind of a strong self insight.
Okay. At that time, how many schools did you apply?
So I have a very in some ways kind of a lucky circumstance. I applied early decision to Stanford,
Okay.
and so I had planned to apply to about like 12 different schools, probably maybe even more, because a lot of UCs. I live in California, which is
Yes.
also another advantage, because Stanford accepts a large percentage of students from California. But then I found out I got into Stanford, and I basically just
Wow.
withdrew all of my applications after that. So I don't even know what would have happened after that, but
Okay.
I was lucky. I found out like in December, end of December, that I got into Stanford. And so I don't know if they still do that now. This was early decision, right? So
Okay.
at that time, this was binding. So you kind of apply to it, and if you get into it, you have to go.
That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But let's say in UCs, what were your preferred
Yeah,
universities?
because I'm interested in engineering and science, so my top ones, were Berkeley, San Diego, Los Angeles, Davis. Um, I think I also applied to Santa Cruz because it's nearby. but those were probably the top five that I was focused on. Check the
I
box for
don't
all of them.
hear
Yeah.
another one from California, the Caltech. So that was not on the.
Oh yeah, I didn't apply to Caltech. I was applying to MIT, but not Caltech, and I don't know, it just
Ah,
wasn't on the radar. I think it was kind of too science or too technical, and I wanted something maybe a little bit more well-rounded. Sure.
okay, there's one question that goes because there are a lot more targeted towards people, international students applying to US and UK universities. So for them, there is a one constant question about managing their finances. So
Mm.
you seem to be in a different condition because you were already in California, and then maybe state tuition is different than international. So
Yeah, I don't know the details around the differences in the tuition, but I also always had a job when I was at Stanford, and there's a lot of on-campus opportunities for work. I worked in the library. I worked also as a resident. I don't think this role exists anymore because it's not really relevant anymore. But when I was in university, maybe you two, Irfan, there was a resident computer kind of
uh,
support.
yes,
So
support.
other students who would live in the dorm and they'd be solely focused on helping other students with their computers. And so I was helping them make sure their internet setup was okay,
Okay.
that they had access to the all the IT systems at Stanford. I think for international students, I think it's a much harder to get financial aid, from what I
Students.
recall. And so that's kind of maybe the unfortunate part. But there still are jobs available on campus
Hmm.
that many students can apply for. You don't have to have financial aid to apply for the jobs. So there's many kind of student-focused jobs on campus that can help, support a little bit of additional money. But in reality, yeah, the cost of these schools is very expensive, and so I think that's one of the biggest decision-making points for some students. But then for the day-to-day finances, I think having a job can really help reduce the cost, and it's also a good experience, to get some work experience. But juggling that with schoolwork can be kind of challenging, and so that's why I liked working in the library. So
Yeah,
working in the
that's
library, a lot of times no one comes and talks to you
complete
anyway,
your
especially
assignments.
now everything's online. I don't even know if they have student jobs in the library anymore. But at the time I was working in this thing and I'd work the shifts like morning shift. There were no students coming by in the morning shift. So I would just do my homework while working. And so you could make some extra money. So finding jobs like that's kind of low maintenance work. Can be nice. It's all becomes a balance because obviously, there's a limited amount of time in the day and you have to study, you have to spend time with, you want to spend time with friends, and you need to, figure out how to balance all those things with if you want to also get a job. So that can be challenging.
With you, there's one more opportunity because you're also teaching a student as instructor some of the courses, summer courses and other courses. So how that interaction goes, and how do you feel about students at this right now, like compared to your time? How
Yeah.
different are they?
Yeah, I would say that the students now are much more impressive than they were in my day. Um, they are like starting, nonprofit organizations. They're trying and doing so many more things. For me, the teaching is it's really just a joy. Kind of like when we talked about, for your work here, like the joy of working with students, kind of helping them form their thoughts of their careers and what they want to do is very rewarding experience to kind of see that. And for me it's kind of sharing the things that I thought about, the mistakes that I've made or the choices that I made and why what helped me lead me to where I am today. And if they can learn from that, it's a really rewarding, because I also had so many mentors and people that helped me along the way that feels really good to give back and to share that back with students.
Okay, so a last message to students, international students who will be applying. So let's say you started with mechanical engineering and now in a very, very different field, you're helping society, that's always good. But you in biopharmaceutical kind of field, you started with the mechanical engineering. So what if you go back today with the information, all information of these years, and then you are applying back to university, what would be your focus? Because you have a lot more information from future and then going back and applying.
Yeah.
So what would you look for? Again, the same course or different course?
Yeah.
Or does it really matter? You just keep learning and eventually you find your ways?
I think, and for me, I chose mechanical engineering in part because at the time, Stanford did not have a bioengineering program. There was no department of bioengineering. The mechanical engineering had some bio aspects. There was a biomechanical engineering where they focused on kind of like things like cardiovascular fluid dynamics or bone mechanical, forces on bones and skeletal growth and the motion of walking. So kind of like, and when I looked into the industry, I was really interested in a field that we call medical device. And so I ended up going mechanical engineering because I liked working with my hands and I liked dealing with things I can see, visually see. But I probably would have done bioengineering. I think for young people who are interested in the life sciences, the field is really at this very interesting tipping point right now, I think, with with genomics and bioinformatics. So with all of the new computational tools that are being developed and all of the molecular biology tools like CRISPR and other kind of immunotherapies, things like that, where you have these actual tools to manipulate biology, we're going to be at this very interesting, I think, explosion of opportunities. And I think it's something where I'll just to reiterate something that I heard the CEO of NVIDIA saying to students is that not to study computer science, but to study. He recommended the physical sciences, so like material science, physics, maybe chemistry, because you can see the marriage of those fields with artificial intelligence and large language models to really help understand the physical world better and manipulate better. But I still think actually life science, for me, because of my interest in human health, life sciences is in the same position. So you look at biology or biochemistry, and our understanding of that has significantly increased, by orders of magnitude. Look at protein folding for using AI models. So I think we're going to have a much greater understanding of how to intervene and how to prevent disease with the emphasis on kind of longevity and quality of life over a longer period of time. And I think that is can be a huge impact. So for me, if that students are interested in that area, I'd say still those are still very vibrant areas, whether it's biology or bioengineering, biochemistry. So when it goes to your point earlier about that, I don't think exactly the field matters too much. Once you're in that general area, I'd say focus on things that you're passionate about. And this is a balance, but I like this one quote I've heard in the past, which is something like, don't focus too much on what the world needs. Focus on what makes you come alive, because what the world needs are people that have caught on fire about something. Because if you find that thing you're very excited about or passionate about, you will find a way to make an impact on that and make a career in that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities now, and the AI thing is just changing the game of what's going to happen.
I'm trying to summarize what you have said, that you applied to engineering because you wanted to develop medical devices and do something with disease detection and cure some devices. At that time, there was no proper departments of biomedical engineering. So that's why mechanical engineering had some unit that were working in similar areas. So you thought this is the best place. You went there and then you explored. And right now, because AI is coming up, the first applications are going to be in the medical field because there is a huge need, and we can really improve the quality of life, detect diseases earlier, and then invent ways to cure those diseases. What NVIDIA CEO was saying is that once this stage matures in the physical sciences, there's a lot more to go. If people, because the AI is not going to understand that, we need a lot more people to make AI understand what is going on at molecular level and at atomic level, and that
Exactly.
would be the next phase. So is
Yep.
that sort of summary?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly right. Yeah. So I
For
think,
students,
yeah, exactly.
for students, your suggestion is if they already know the area of their passion, they should focus on that. And if they are not sure, they get into right program, the best they can get in a good ranking university, and then focus what they are good at. So if they are
I think
not
so.
sure,
Yeah. I try to get people, the people that I interact with, the students I interact with tend to be already interested in this area.
okay.
So it's already somewhat filtered. But I tend to, if I meet people who are interested in finance, I try to get them out of it because I say, you're obviously you might make more money going into
Yes.
finance. There's a
Yes.
good chance. But I think the other fields need really smart people.
Thank you, Ravi, for sharing your valuable life experiences, and I'm sure it's going to help a lot of students, and hope to get some of their questions and some of their doubts cleared, and it helps them to their university admission. So, and they eventually contribute back to the society. So that's what we are hoping. Thank you so much for taking our time today. Have a
My
great
pleasure. I found really great to connect and chat, and good luck with everything. And good luck to your students.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye, Ravi.
Bye.